Welcome back, everyone. It is week 9, and this is your Sharp Squares podcast with Greg Roth, the ambassador, David Eby. This is yours truly, Eric Glazer, and here we go. Last week, our Sharps in aggregate, 27 and 25. That's 52% against the number. 3-2-1. We went 2-1, but we lost a 3-point game. We only earned 3 of 6 points because of that. Pick 5, we were 2-3. Medal games, we were 2-2. For the season, our Sharps are 43.5% against the number. Our medal games are slightly better at 46%. All this is pretty bad. Very bad. Pick 5, we're at 40%. 3-2-1, we're up to 500, 12 for 12 wins, 12 losses, but only earning 44% of our available points. We continue to press on, showing signs of life. Let's get to it. We've got some interesting things to share with you again this week. And we're going to do it through a segment we like to call Gold, Silver, Bronze. And to provide you with all that important information is everyone's favorite fellow degenerate, the Greg Roth.
Eric, thank you so much. Happy November to you and the ambassador. We have 4 medal games today, this weekend. 4 medal games. There's 1 gold game, a highly ranked game, one of the higher ranked games we've had all season, I believe. Eric, I'm not going to ask a question I don't know the answer to. Let's just say it's a gold game and it's highly rated.
I think, relatively speaking to the next highest game, this is one of the biggest gaps we've had. Let's go with that.
There are no silver games.
There you go.
To your point. And there are 3 bronze games, although a couple of those games barely medaled, but they did medal. They did medal, and they are bronze. The gold game, the top-rated game, the pick. It's the Green Bay Packers. They're a home dog at plus 3.5, welcoming the Detroit Lions. Scott Seidenberg, Kelly Stewart, Stuckey, the Whale Capper, Ralph Michaels, and the Favorites podcast all picked Green Bay. Nobody picked Detroit. Guys, I don't know if you know this, but last Thanksgiving, I was in Detroit for the game that the Lions hosted, which happened to be against the Packers, and the Packers absolutely dismantled the Lions in that game. The Lions, of course, recovered and made it to the NFC Championship game.
Greg,
there are no. Go ahead.
Just so that we don't get it all on social media. The game's plus 3.5.
What did I say?
You said 4.5. Which, you want to know why you said 4.5? Because it was incorrectly listed in your notes at 4.5. So I'm correcting you live during our recording.
Well, I changed it. Can I show you? I changed that note. You can't really see it because of the blur. 3.5. You see the little cross out to 3.5?
That's on you then. Let's keep.
Old age is difficult, guys. There are no silver games. There are 3 bronze games. The top-rated bronze game, which matters in this case because the other games did barely squeak out the medal. The pick, it's the New Orleans Saints. They're minus 6.5, traveling to Carolina to take on the Panthers. RJ Bell and the Favorites podcast both picked the Saints. Nobody picked Carolina. I can't wait to watch that game, guys. By the way, I'm thrilled to not have to take the Panthers or this week, although now I still have to watch a Panther game, so we can't escape. Another one of my favorite teams, another appearance in the medal segment, the pick. Everyone's going to love it. The Tennessee Titans, they're minus 3.5 at home, welcoming New England. Steve Fezzik, RJ Bell, Adam Chernoff, and Mike Lombardi. That's a hell of a lineup right there. Fezzik, Bell, Chernoff, Lombardi all picked Tennessee. Ross Tucker did take New England. The last medal game, the picks. The Indianapolis Colts now with Joe Flacco, plus 5.5, traveling to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Steve Fezzik, Scott Seidenberg, Ross Tucker, Tommy the Hitman, and the Covers podcast all picked the Colts. Cleve TA did take the Vikings in descent.
So I got it again, not your fault. We had some issues here with pre-production. It's 5.5 now. 5.5. We took that game.
What did I say?
It's 6.5.
I said 6.5?
You did. It's okay.
Ambassador, are you confirming that?
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
This could be like evidence for medical professional. I don't know.
Old age, like you said.
That's crazy as well, because it must be. I changed it as well. I know I caught the mistake to I wrote it down initially at 6.5, and I caught the mistake and changed it to 5.5. By the way, that Roth family stationery is available for all of you out there.
Just be happy you've got me as your backup.
So, gentlemen, our picks, pick 5 easy. Our 4 medal games: Packers plus 3.5, Saints minus 6.5, Titans minus 3.5, Colts plus 5.5. We needed a 5th game for pick 5. The next highest rated game on the board, but not a medal game, is the Chargers at minus 1.5. That's what we're going to use in the pick 5. Let me set that game up for you. They are in Cleveland to take on the Browns at minus 1.5. Steve Fezzik, Mackenzie Rivers, Adam Chernoff, Will Capper, and Fabian Summer all picked the Chargers. Chris Raybon and Gil Alexander did pick the Browns. 3-2-1, Packers, top game, of course, 3-point game, also plus 3.5 in that pool. The Colts and the Titans were very close. The Colts, though, second highest rated game at plus 5.5. No.
Third, no, it's Titans 2, Colts 1.
Wait.
Packers 3, Titans 2, Colts 1.
Now that one I definitely had wrong in my notes.
So it's funny because I kind of wanted to flip them. They're a virtual tie. And Greg kept on saying they're not a virtual tie. There's 1/100th of a point difference. We got to stick with the order. Now I think he's rethinking that, but I think I've already submitted the pick, so that's what we're going with. Packers.
But clearly the lines are the same. The Titans at 1 are minus 3.5 as the 1-point game. Colts plus 5.5 are the 2-point game. And of course, the Packers are gold.
No, the Titans minus 3.5 is our 2-point game. The Colts plus 5.5 is our 1-point game.
In fairness, the Titans and Colts have been equally boring to watch all year.
They've been equally detrimental to our success, and now they've screwed up this episode.
But great cities.
All right. If that fiasco is all you were looking for, you are now all dismissed. For those of you that are sticking around with us, we've got some trends we aggregated, and we've got handicapping highlights of our top 3 games. The ambassador, David Eby, take it away.
All right. Thank you, Eric. We've got a couple of trends from Lock and Cash, which can be found at Lock and Cash on Twitter X. This first one's a little counterintuitive, so Greg, pay attention. Teams going from west to east for a game are 81-45-4 against the spread. That's 64.3% last 5 years, and 7-3-1 this season. They're going west to east. They're losing time, but they're winning at a 64% clip against the spread. I just don't understand it. Anyway, that applies to the Raiders, Chargers, and Broncos this weekend. And then the second trend is home divisional dogs on a 3-game losing streak are 44-25-2 against the spread. That's 64%. Same percentage as the last one. That cashed last week with Las Vegas plus 10. And this week, take a look at the Giants plus 3.5 versus the Commanders.
Nice. Before we started this show years ago, EB, my father, who is as square as they come, we used to call this the Jerry pick. He loved fading the West Coast team when they were playing at 1 o'clock in East Coast. Where he called those the Jerry games. Remember that, Greg? And then, look at
this is the reverse Jerry.
This is the reverse Jerry. All right, from at Bet Labs. Here are some trends that I'm going to be honest with you guys. You could do with it as you may, but there's no direction here. So first of all, Bet Labs tells you that underdogs of 6 or more points are 21-10-2, or 68% against the number this season. Okay, 6 or more point dogs are 68% against the number this season. But then they say the last 3 weeks, they're only 5-8-1. Here's who those teams are. Raiders plus 7, Panthers plus 7, Broncos plus 9.5, the Fish plus 6, Jaguars plus 7.5, and the Bucks plus 9. More specifically, Joe Burrow, 2-8 ATS is a favorite of 7 or more points. They're minus 7 this week against the Raiders. And in the last 4 years, Lamar Jackson is 2-11 11-1 against the number as a favorite of 7 or more points, and they are laying 9.5 against the Broncos. Our top game, the aforementioned Green Bay Packers plus 3.5. The theme, and Deester's going to be upset. Chris Deester put this together, but I changed his theme. He's not going to like it. The theme is the number 11. Guys, why isn't the number 11 pronounced 1T1? This is Stephen Wright. Quote, the synopsis here, switching to a belated Halloween theme. You can consider the Lions as the vampires of the NFL because it has been 11 regular season games since they have played outdoors in sunlight. You have to go back to week 14 of last season versus the Bears, where they lost 28-13. This week, they will go to Lambeau Field to play the Packers. Scott Seidenberg of the Dream Preview reminds us of how much better Jared Goff is indoors versus outdoors. He is 41-18 ATS indoors, only 36-35 and 2 ATS outdoors. Stuckey from the Action Network. He's relied on the outdoor Jared Goff trend to help him make this pick. He also says that Goff is 39-16 ATS indoors. Actually, he just repeats the same stat. Sorry, guys. So Chad Milliman also says, and he's basically being called Captain Obvious here by our team, that the weather could be dicey in Green Bay this week. So he's leaning also or picking the Packers. Dream timestamps for this, Dream Preview, 32 minutes, 56 seconds. You could check out the handicap for the Action Network at 28 minutes, 41 seconds of their show. And you can go check out the Favorites pod and go to 50 minutes, 50 seconds.
Now let's go to the Saints and the Panthers. The pick is the Saints minus 6.5. The theme, the Panthers are punting on the season, while the Saints probably won't have to punt all game on Sunday. Now, the New Orleans Saints have only got one more win this year than the Panthers. They've got 2 and the Panthers have 1. And both teams lost ugly last week. But the Sharps think that these teams are going in opposite directions. That's because the Saints hope to begin their march. See what I did there? Saints march to respectability, while the Panthers continue to lick their wounds as they start to look towards the offseason. But you look for the New Orleans Saints to win this game the big easily. All right, highlights from the Dream Preview. This is RJ Bell's 3-star pick, and he points out that the Saints are getting their QB back. That would be Derek Carr, and they're the type of team that seems to fight for mediocrity and is okay with mediocrity. If they get 9 wins on the year, they're excited. So he thinks they're going to be motivated in this game. As for the Panthers, RJ says, you don't want a coach being too buff with too nice of a haircut, which I guess are 2 boxes that Dave Canales checks. I can't really comment on that. You want your coach eating fried food in the film room or noogies like Andy Reid. The Favorites podcasts, this is their big balls bet of the week. Saints minus 7.5. So this is news you can use because the current line is Saints minus 7. Chad Millman says Derek Carr is back, but historically he's horrible as a large favorite. Although Scott Seidenberg pointed out on the Dream Preview that he's 3-1-1 against the spread versus Carolina and 5-0 straight up against the Panthers. Simon Hunter says the Panthers are bad and are punting on the season. He must have listened to the theme. While there is still a little hope for the Saints. And he also said the Saints offense was clicking with Derek Carr the first 2 weeks, which is certainly true. Timestamps, Dream Preview, 1 hour and 4 minutes, 38 seconds. And the Favorites podcast, 19 minutes and 45 seconds.
Third game, also bronze, the Colts plus 5.5 at the Vikings. Eric, see, I got that one right that time. By the way, I changed it in the cheat sheet as well. You're welcome. Theme, out with the new, in with the old. I guess that's a Flacco Richardson play. The synopsis comments on that. It appears that Anthony Richardson experiment has been put on pause, or maybe it's over altogether, as the Colts have handed the controls of the offense back over to veteran QB Joe Flacco. As the Colts hit the road this week, they travel to Minnesota to face a Vikings squad that started out red hot, but have since lost 2 straight games. Can Joe Flacco continue to find ways to win in his new role as a super backup? He's not a super backup. He's a starter for the rest of the season if he can stay healthy. Highlights. Tommy the Hitman says the Colts defense is playing well and pressured C.J. Stroud last week on 57% of his dropbacks, which is the 4th highest rate all season. Hitman also points out that the Vikings lost all-world tackle Christian Darrisaw. All-world, Eric. I think you're all-world if I could say that. And this will have and you too, Ambassador. And this will have a major impact, especially in this game 1 of his absence. From Steve Fezzik, Dream Preview, he thinks the Vikings have gotten overrated because of a hot start and Sam Darnold playing really well early in the year. They just acquired a replacement at right tackle, but that's got to be a downgrade, at least initially, for the Vikings, says Fezzik. Timestamps, even money, 22 minutes, 20 seconds. Dream Preview, 52 minutes, 9 seconds. Forward Progress, 24 minutes, 10 seconds.
Nice job, everyone. Shout out to the entire production team. Great job with the notes. And a reminder, none of us are truly sharp. But this is your Sharp Squares podcast.
Good luck out there.